Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get started. The workshop will be following. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Pavel. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Directshop. And today workshop will have the following plan. First, we'll perform the quick overview of the platform. I know that some of you are rookies and the newcomers would watch the webinar, so we'll have the top level overview of the platform features. Then we'll consider the question, what can be built on Directshell? Then we'll consider the key topic of today's webinar, AI and no code. How could it be combined? How we could use AI in our no code development. Then I'll introduce the Directshell Marketplace. That is the freshly baked feature, very cool one. And then we'll build an app actually from scratch. It'll take about an hour, and then you could ask the questions. So actually you could ask questions anytime. Just type your message to the chat, and I'll review the chat from time to time and answer your questions. All right, so Directshell is a no-code platform. That is a pro-level no-code platform because it has a certain learning curve. You need to invest your time, but Directshell is a rare platform for going beyond MVP. Most of the popular no-code platforms are great for building something simple, something low-loaded, an MVP. And Directshell is absolutely great for building MVP and going beyond because it's scalable, it's flexible. You could build really sophisticated and complex things on Directshell. And let's dive into the details. The parts of the platform. First, the database. So the database is the basic thing for any app. Directshell has its own NoSQL database, and the key thing that is highly scalable. You could easily manage millions of records with Directshell in comparison with, say, Airtable, where you face the limit of 50K records only. That is suitable for MVP only. Next, API builder. You could build RESTful API with secured access, with different methods for filtering, sorting, custom parameters. So the most scalable API builder on the market, actually. Then the heart of the platform, scenarios. That is the workflow builder where you could design the logic of your app. That is the complex event processing. You could build the logic which works in real time and the scheduled ones. So the scheduled scenarios. And the key feature of Directshell scenarios is that they're real time. It could process tens of thousands events per second or per minute. Next, you could integrate your app with other platforms, with other third-party IT systems. If any service has an API, Directshell could be connected with it using the universal API connectors and pre-built plugins. Next, web page builder. Sometimes you could hear that Directshell is not great from the UI point of view. On the other on the one hand, yes, Directshell does not give you the full freedom in terms of design. That is happening because Directshell is focused on building internal apps, admin portals, CRM-like apps, learning management systems, etc. So Directshell is absolutely great for building, say, an admin for your app or an interface for your automation app where you are dealing with the list of users with different roles, with different access rights, etc. And the topic of our webinar, AI. Directional has an AI assistant. As of today, you could use it in ChatGPT as a ChatGPT plugin. We'll have a look at it now. And soon we'll introduce that AI assistant just inside Directional platform. You will not have to have the GPT Plus account to use that assistant. First, it helps you to build something. You could say, create me a data table, a scenario, an API endpoint, and it will create. Next, it helps with documentation, searches, the relevant articles or tips, and it will help with onboarding and learning. All right, what can be built on the platform? The most widespread case of an app on the Rockchell is internal app. That is an automation, as I mentioned before. That is the web app, the portal where you could log in, where you could have different roles and access to the data, tables, forms, cards, Kanban, dashboards, etc. So that is the huge segment of no-code market. Next, Directio is one of the first no-code platforms integrated with blockchains. So if you want to have the authorization via decentralized wallets, you could easily do it with Directio. If you want to deal with cryptocurrency, if you want to manage NFTs, you could easily do it with Directio scenarios and integrations with different blockchains. Then Directional is really scalable, and if you need to build something high loaded, Directional is the very best choice. I just mentioned the use case. The bank, Eastern European Bank, built the whole scoring system on our platform without any additional programming. So that app, that scoring system, processes hundreds of thousands events per minute. And the peculiarity of the scoring system is that it needs the real-time answer, the real-time response. So if somebody submits a request, he or she should get an answer, say, in 5-10 seconds, and Directional manages it easily. So if you need something high-loaded, Directional is suitable for that. And chatbots, as soon as Directional is closely connected, integrated with different AIs, including OpenAI, ChatGPT, and all the other, such as GigaChat from Sber team, you could create really smart chatbots on Directional using such platforms as Telegram or any other messenger that has API. So you could create bots that are connected with the database, that are performing some complex logic, and that are connected with different AI providers. All right. And another thing that I would like to highlight is the marketplace. We recently introduced the marketplace where you can find different plugins such as OpenAI, that is the free plugin, then connection with Telegram, then such plugins as charts, absolutely great thing for making dashboards. And the thing is that we are providing our users with the opportunity to develop plugins, to put it on the marketplace, and to sell them. So if you created something for your app, a plugin, a component, or a step for a scenario, you could place it on the marketplace and get rewarded for it. So if you need more details, just message us on support chat. Don't hesitate. And the key topic of our webinar, AI and no code. as I mentioned, we have introduced the AI assistant for our platform. I'll show you how it works right now. And the second part of the topic is that you could include AI in your apps. So if you need a chatbot in your app or something like auto-generated texts, pictures, you could connect your apps using OpenAI plugin to call that ChatGPT API and get that AI generated content. We'll see how it works during the live workshop. So, and referring to the live workshop, I'm going to build an app from scratch right now. That would be a kind of an app for a restaurant where you could find the users with different roles, say an admin, creates menu, then uploads some descriptions, set prices, and then the regular customers, users could see the catalog of dishes, compose it to an order, send the order, then it would be the connection with a Telegram bot where customers could just click on Telegram what they want, and the order would be created. And finally, we'll make just an example of a dashboard for the admin where the user could see the statistics of sales daily, monthly, doesn't matter. So that is it. The lecture is done. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask on chat, and we are going to start our development. Yeah, the questions are the following. You mentioned LMS. Interested to understand when an educational admin platform and LMS can be built out on the app for homeschool organization. Yeah, learning management systems, customer portals, those are examples of internal apps where users are signing in, getting an access to the personal content, then submitting home tasks, etc. So those are the parts of internal apps. So those are things that could be built on Directional easily. There is customer portals. You can build a login portal. Yep, that is the response. All right, let's start our development. I'll share this screen right now. I'm creating new app, August webinar bot or app. I'm using the template Telegram bot. I could use any other or build it from scratch, but that would be just easier to connect the bot. Here, I have just created new bot using bot fodder on Telegram. I'm copying the API key, paste it here. Next, I could use the trial period for a month. Use it almost for free. All right, here is my app. For the viewers who just is getting acquainted with the platform, I'll make a quick overview. That is a dashboard where we could see the stats of the load that produced by our app. So the load is crucial because there are certain limits in the plans, and if you hit the limit, you will have to pay on-demand resource consumption. But the limits are sufficient enough to build an app. Then I have a tab with different web pages. Now I don't have any. I'll create. Then here is the database. I have basic system data structures such as users, files, and some integrations. Then the tab with scenarios. Here in the template, I already have some scenarios for my chatbot. Those scenarios work in real time with each and every message object comes from the bot. Then API. Here I configure API endpoints, webhooks. API endpoints are used for connecting the web pages or third-party systems. And then here's the reports. We will make another webinar for the reports so you could get acquainted with the fresh video called Inside the Directional, where we are demonstrating our dashboards that we use inside Directional. They are based on that feature reports. Then the version management, where I'm dealing with the versions of the app. That is kind of a continuous deployment feature. And then plugins. So Telegram plugin has already been installed, and there is a marketplace where I could find all the other plugins. All right, let's start building. I'm creating first the data structure, say for different items in the restaurant dishes. And here I would love to demonstrate you that AI assistant. I open ChatGPT. I have connected Directional plugin. Here's the plugin store. I could search Directional and here install that plugin. And then I could ask ChatGPT, how can you help me with Directional? And here I'll get the response that the application management, the chat could search for a certain app that I would love to work with. Then scenarios, structures, API endpoints. As of today, the version of the plugin is in beta, so it's really fresh, and we are appreciating any feedback because the feedbacks, some bug reports, share with us the scenarios, and if something goes wrong, just message us on the support chat. We appreciate it. All right. First, what apps I have. It connects Directional, and here you could see it identifies that I have August webinar app, and I'll work with it. Create new data table in app. It will have the following fields: title, type of string, image, type of file, and say price, type of number. All right. It's working. All right. Use Directional. The ChatGPT have successfully created a new data table in the August webinar app. Let's have a look. Here, new data table with the certain fields. So the ChatGPT is not ideal, so it called new data table, but probably I did not add the name of the data table. All right, let's rename it manually. Rename the data structure. That would be dishes. All right, configuring string, file, and number. Everything is correct. So using that ChatGPT plugin for creating tables is really good. All right, next, I would love to connect ChatGPT plugin in direct shell to have an opportunity to call that AI in order to generate the descriptions. So let's add another field, description, type of string. And here would be not only file, but image, the subtype of file. All right. So that is what I was talking about. That is the bug of ChatGPT. It did not create ID field. So let us delete that data structure and ask ChatGPT to create new data structure named dishes with ID, type of ID. All right, now it should work correctly. Perfect. We have ID, we have title, image, price, and description. I should have added it to the prompt. Type of string. All right. Dish description. All right. Title. Then I'm going to create a few web pages with role-based access. Create a new web page. Name it dishes. Admin. Dishes. Price. The icon would be something like that, doesn't matter. And group admin. All right. And now I would love to have that page available for admins only. I'm opening web portal settings, security, turn on authentication. All right. Now I need to sign in. If we work with users of the app, we are working with app users data structure that is called web user data structure. I could create new object. I also could have the sign up form, but now just for the demonstration purposes, I'll create that object manually. ID is the login. Let it be email. Then the roles, keep it blank for now. Then the password, that will be God, and we need to encrypt it. All right. I have an object, a user, and now I could log in. God. All right. Everything works fine. I have and now I'm opening that dishes and I have an access to the page. Let's add a header to let us identify that we are on that page, dishes. And some component, let it be just the regular text. Here would be catalog. All right. And here, if I set in the page settings that the page is accessible for authorized users with the roles admin, I'll have the notification that access denied. So I go to our users, app users, the users that I signed in, and here we could add some roles, admin and say moderator, comma separated, moderator. All right, and now here we are. Dishes. All right, something went wrong. We could check the page backups. All right. Dishes. All right. Now I see that. Next, I would love to have a list of dishes that I manage as an admin. For that, I'm creating the API endpoint. New API endpoint to the dishes method name get dishes security layer. That is the part of the role-based access. If I keep the default condition ID is not null, that means that the API endpoint is not public. So it's available only for authorized users. I can add another condition that role like admin. So that endpoint would provide the user with the data if only the user has the role admin. Then I'm configuring the fields available for reading. Description, ID, title, image, price. All right. Save. And let's go to web pages, dishes. I don't need the text. I'll better have a card view. The get dishes. Checking no objects. So really there is no objects. We haven't added any. Let's have a form for adding a dish. And here we will add only title, and everything else, including picture and description, would be filled by AI. There is a form. We need an API endpoint for the form. By creating new API endpoint for saving the data. The first endpoint was for reading the data. Actually, we could use the single endpoint both for reading and writing, but here we just, for the demonstration purposes, create two endpoints. Create dish. Create a dish. We add the condition for security, the role of the user like admin. Here we could read ID. At least one field should be added to the list available for reading, and then we save just title. All right. Here, endpoint create a dish, add a dish, and fields just title. All right. Here, add a dish, and let's add some pizza. submitted successfully, and here we see pizza, but there is no any other field except title. And here I will show you how to work with the scenarios. But before working with scenarios, I'll demonstrate how to change the colors, the fonts, etc. We could open the web portal settings, appearance, choose any color scheme, or customize the theme, choosing the colors for everything. I would use that one, black one. Then I could set up different border radius, then font families, that on the white label option, remove directional, maiden directional footer. And here, just a couple of clicks and we have the different design. All right, now we are connecting ChatGPT for generating texts from your app. We're going to Marketplace, OpenAI. All right. It's free, but we need an API key. I have one. All right. It is installed. Here we are. Next, we go to scenarios. Create new scenario. So that is the workflows that are dealing with objects. And scenario need any object to work. It couldn't work without an object. So here it processes each and every new object in the data structure dishes. Process new dish and call chat GPT. Trigger new object. There are another trigger is it could process each and every object that was edited, or it could work following certain schedule. Here we keep only one real-time trigger. All right. Here we have the editing view. If we add something, say just exit and publish, here's the running view. We could not edit this scenario, we just see how it works. We see the logs with the statistics, and we could check the settings of the steps, but we could not edit it. In order to edit the scenario, we click edit scenario, and then we could do anything that we need. Until we publish the scenario, it does not change the running scenario. So it is keeping going. It keeps going. Then when we add a scenario and publish it, the production version of the scenario is changed. Also, now it is paused. In order to process objects, we need to run this scenario. All right, let's call ChatGPT here and then save the data that we get from ChatGPT to the object. First, we need both. We need an image generated by AI and the text. Let's call for the text completion first. Prompt would be generate a description for the dish. And here in the steps, we could use so-called templating. We type 2 curly braces and we see the drop down for choosing the fields. Here I'm working with the object dish and I see the fields of the object dish. say title. All right, that is what I need. But I need another thing. ChatGPT responds us something, and we need to save that response somewhere. We could add another field to the object and save the response to the object, or use context variables. So that is a kind of a local variables for the scenario. We open start step, context variables, and add parameter API response. Usually the type of the response is JSON, so we pick JSON type, and here we set that context variable API response, the place where we save the response of the API. All right, and now we need to test somehow the scenario. Sure thing, we could wait when the object is created, then the triggers, and the scenario will process the object. But we could use so-called debug mode. There are two ways to push an object to the scenario. First of all, we need an object. Here we have one, and we need to copy its ID. So we click copy ID here, and we could check the scenario using debug panel. Note that we are in the editing mode still. We haven't published the scenario yet. We put the ID of the object here, throw to the scenario, and we could check the logs. Here we see that start step was performed and action step. And we have the response in a regular text format. Delicious pizza is made with a thin and crispy crust, blah, blah, blah. So we could use the text and save it to the description. So we add another step. Don't forget to add comments. Ask GPT to compose description and save the description. Comments make your scenario readable. And here we use edit object, and we added the field dish description, and we save to that field our context variable API response. All right, now we need a picture. So we use another step of the plugin, text to image. Ask for an image. Let's ask, provide me with the photo of and the title of our dish. And we could save the response into the same context variable because we have already saved it to the field description. So we could save it one more time again. All right. And we could check the scenario in a different way. Debug runs the whole scenario for the certain object, but we could check only one step. We click show step testing and paste here ID of an object. Go. Waiting for the response usually takes a few seconds. All right. And the response is the URL of the picture. Let's check it out. All right, lovely pizza. So we come back to our scenario and add another step. So we are saving image context variable, API response. We could publish it. Then we could run the scenario once for our object using the same debug mechanism. Oh, that's not the ID, that is ID. All right. And check here. Description, title. Let's have a look at the settings of the list. Here, cards, we could include picture on the card and picture URL with the image. Let it be left-sided that way. So the picture could not be displayed here. Let's change the request. Here, we added the scenario, draw me a picture of pizza. And now run one more time. Let's check it again. All right, pizza, it works. Generated content. Now, let's add another trick. We need to say regenerate the description if we don't like it. Here I would demonstrate how to deal with the actions on the cards, on the card component, or it could be Kanban or table component. So we go to web pages, dishes. Here let's put the picture on the top and the description here. All right, delicious pizza is made with crispy. Superb. The list. Cool. Here we open the actions tab of the cards and we could add an action. Change description. That would be button on the card. Actions on the front end call API endpoint. It could call the same API endpoint and change anything, or it could call another API endpoint and say create a new object that is processed by a scenario. Let's create another database. We could use ChatGPT. Create data structure actions with the fields ID, type of ID, action type, and dish type of link. Soon we will integrate that AI assistant right to the platform somewhere here that will be accompanied with the support chat. All right, here is actions. Let's check the fields, dish, and we need to specify the data structure that we link to dishes. And the problem is that it again didn't compose the ID type of ID. So let's check again. We need to remove the data structure. ID type of ID, action type of action, and dish. All right. ChatGPT apologizes. It realizes that it made a mistake. All right. Oops. Regenerate. ChatGPT has recently introduced that feature for plugins, so I believe that they're working on improving it. All right, actions. Let's check. Everything is correct that time, except that we need to, oops, something went wrong here. Discard. It's weird. All right, let's do it manually that time. Create now data structure, actions, and configure fields. Dish, action, type of link, dish. Sometimes it's easier to make everything manually, but we believe that the future belongs to the AI generation of the code. And sure thing, we are training our AI models. So please participate, please use that plugin and provide us with the feedback. It allows us to improve the models, to train the models. Action type of string. All right. Everything is correct. Then we need to create an API endpoint for actions. Actions. New actions. Security layer. Get ID. And post action and dish. All right. It's not public by default. Come back to web pages, dishes, actions. And here we could API endpoint, choose other actions, and we are configuring the mapping. Action would be regular constant, regenerate, and the link to dish would be an object card ID. Links contain IDs of objects that they linked to. All right, save, and here, click. All right, let's add the result message. Working on it. Working on it. All right, and here we need to do two things. First, call ChatGPT again and ask for regenerating the text. And second, refresh the web page in the real time to let the user see the result of the scenario without refreshing the page manually. We go to database actions. Here you could see two objects. That's because we clicked 2 times. And we create new scenario, process actions, data structure actions, run scenario by new objects. And here we check what we need, what we want to do with an action. So if an action is regenerate, we could use the same data structure for any other actions from the app. If an action equals regenerate, if not, quit from the scenario. If yes, we call ChatGPT and ask create another description for the dish. And here in the template, we could use links. So we have the field type of link, dish. We click on it, and here we see the fields of linked object of the object dish title. And we could specify that the old description is not good enough. And we could add the old description. All right, and save response to directly to dish and description. All right, publish and run. Let's check it out. Change description, working on it. We haven't added the auto refresh of the page yet, so we need to refresh it manually. And you see the description has been changed. The classic Italian dish, blah, blah, blah. All right. And now I want that page be refreshed automatically from the scenario. For that, I need another free plugin, which is called Socket.io. So that is special technology for calling front end from the back end. Next, install the plugin. All right, perfect. And to use sockets, first I add this tab, send push message. Here I specify here asterisk. I'm performing that action for all the users. Asterisk means all the users, and event name, refresh description. That event name is a kind of ID that is used on the front end. You'll see how it works now. Publish. All right, and we go to web pages, and here we need to add a component refresher, a part of the plugin. And here we specify refresh description. Now it should work automatically. Remember the description, the classic Italian dish is sure to pleasure. Change description, working. All right, this delicious Italian dish, it has been refreshed. All right, and now we could create another part of app, the client side. It could be the web part, sure thing, but as soon as we connect a chatbot, we'll have the bot for ordering some dishes. Let's add another one. Burger. Submit. All right. And pasta. It will be 3 dishes. All right, that is burger with the picture and pasta. We could add refresher to this scenario that works with the description. Here we have that ID, refresh description, scenario, process dish, and here we'll have the refresher. All the users, and here event name. Pizza, pasta. Let's have not profile, but dishes. I want to have bigger images, larger. 250 pixels. All right. Pasta, burger, pizza. Now, let's go to the bot configuration. We created that webinar restaurant bot, and we start our conversation with it. All right, let's start from the beginning. What is the phone number? Send my phone number. All right, that is the standard feature of Telegram. What is your name? Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look to the platform, how it works from inside out. First, we go to integrations, Telegram, and there are special tables, data structures for Telegram. In common Telegram messages, those are objects that was sent by me. That start, that is the phone number, then objects chat, that is a kind of identifier of a user. And here are the scenarios. There is only one scenario that has a trigger, each and every new message, the message processing. That is the part of the template. So first it identifies if the user typed any system command, start, help. We could add any other. If not, it sends the message, the object, to the other scenario called router. And here the trick is the following. We have a lot of objects in the data structure of messages, and in order to know in which part of the conversation we are, we save the data, the context, on the object chat. So here we deal with the object message, and that object has the link to chat, and chat has the field context. Now its value is ask first name. So the context identifies in which node of the conversation we are, in each part of the conversation. And here, ask first name, and here's the condition that was false, and that would be true as soon as we send something to the bot, because here we check chat k dot, so the linked object context equals ask first name. Let's check. What is your first name? Pavel. All right, nice to meet you, Pavel. Let's have a look how it works. First, the object goes to message processing. We see that the object went through that condition. The text didn't equal to start, the text didn't equal to help, so it went to the router scenario, and then to the router that condition was false because the context was not empty. Then that condition was false because the context was not finished. And that condition was true. Ask first name. Then the object went to the scenario ask first name processing. Let's have a look at chatbot dialog processing. And here we just save the text somewhere. We could edit this scenario and create an object client and connect our chat with the client. Let's ask OpenAI again to help us. Where is it? All right. Create data clients with the field ID, type of ID, and name, type of string. All right, let me successfully created. Check database clients. All right, everything correct. Name, string, and we need another link. I forgot about it. Chat ID is the link to Telegram chat. Chat Telegram. All right. We are going to scenarios. We go to scenarios. Process. First name. Here we create new object in the data structure clients. We need to save the link to that structure somewhere, or just set ID manually, and then we could easily use that ID knowing it. Let it be the ID of the client would be equals to chat ID, chat K. And here fields mapping, the link to chat ID would be Telegram chat, and the name would be text. All right. So we have already got the first name, and we could push that object one more time to this scenario to have the object client created. All right. Let us check. Database clients. Here is the client with a link to the chat on Telegram. And here, actually, we have that client authorized because he or she sent us the phone number, and we could use that phone number later, calling him if something is needed. All right. Okay. We reached the end of the dialogue. And then we could ask the client if he wants to create an order. We go to the routing. Router, here is the end of the dialogue. We edit here. What you want. And we could have the reply keyboard with the two buttons. Provide us, give a feedback, or make an order. All right, save and publish. Hey, oops. What you want? Give a feedback, make an order. Make an order, what you want. We need to add that processing. Here we add the condition, and that would be condition to text. Yes, here and no here. Message text was make an order. If yes, we could create the logic here or put it into other scenario and call it using link scenario. I just put it here because it's quicker. I check Telegram chat context, make an order to let us know that the next message would be about making an order. And response with the list of dishes. And if we want to enlist the dishes, we need a special field array link where we'll have the links to all the objects named dishes. So we could use the context variable for it, or we could add another field to the data structure. I will use the second. So here, the group, restaurant, all dishes. That would be array of links to the dishes. All right. Coming back to scenario, router. Should think better to create that logic in the separate scenario, but as soon as we started here, we'll continue. Next, we need to fill that field, and we use the search step. We search all the dishes. We save them as an array of links to all dishes. And search conditions could be description is not empty, just the dish with description. All right. We found all the dishes, and then we send to the user the menu is the following. And here we use the special technique of the template system. We type dash all dishes. And that allows us to enlist all the objects from the array link. And here we just title. What do you want? All right, publish. No. I want to make an order. And here the menu is the following: pasta, burger, pizza. What do you want? And here we could add another keyboard. There are actually two options for the keyboards on Telegram. There could be inline keyboard or reply keyboard. Both things are connected with the dealing with the Telegram in so-called professional mode, HTTP request. Here I'll need to compose a JSON, especially if I work with inline mode. But it's not a rocket science. It's easy to explore the Telegram bot API and compose the JSONs. But anyway, if you struggle with the just message to our Discord community, and there will be the seasoned users who will happy to assist you with composing a certain request to Telegram API. All right. That is the top level overview of how to deal with a bot. And another thing that I would love to show you is the dashboard for the admin. Say we have the data table, daily sales. Let's create it. Data structure, daily sales. And I would love to see the chart with the daily sales on my iPhone. All right, I created the data structure. It could be filled with the scenarios or reports using the data from your app. I configure the fields and sales in dollars. That is the number and the date, type of string or type of date. All right. And we need some data to display. I would create dummy data using these scenarios. Create new scenario, create dummy data. Daily sales. Without any trigger, we will create the scenario for manual run. All right. I would love to create a kind of a loop which creates, say, 100 objects with random sales. That is how it works. First, I fill date with an expression. I am turning on JavaScript, and I could deal with some functions such as moment JS. That is the cool library for working with data. You could find a lot of examples in the documentation or ask for the help in our Discord community. All right, I would create just a single object to start with. Remember, you could not run the scenario without object. Moment, add some minus 100 days. Check. All right, and we need to add to resource string to save it to the date. All right. Don't be scared. That is the thing that you could easily find in the documentation. You go to tips for dealing with data. Here is the section dealing with dates, and there are a lot of detailed examples how to do those things. All right. Minus days. Then we check if that date less than today minus 20 days, we'll have 80 objects from minus 2 days to minus 20 days. That is another thing that is made for working with dates. Here is it in the documentation. Incrementing date using unique object. All right. If yes, so if the date is less than, we create new object in the data structure, daily sales, automatically fields mapping sales in dollars would be random. Here is the method for creating a random number. Don't forget to turn on JS, and the date is moment date add 1 day. All right, let's check again. All right, it's empty. Let's check using debug. All right, May 2023, and here would be May 24th. And here the random number is 82. All right. And then we are creating a loop. We'll fill the same thing to the date. Date equals plus 1 day. And here what if null, exit. Publish, run, and throw an object. Be careful with such loops, because if the condition fails, you could have the load. Sure thing, there is a special mechanism that breaks the infinite loops, but it works when the number of loops is about 10,000 or 20,000, something like that. All right, it completed the work. In no time, it created 80 objects. Let's have a look at our dummy daily sales. All right, perfect. Date, sales, we could delete the first object because it's empty. And we'll install another plugin from the marketplace, charts. I would love to have a bar chart here. Next, license type would be monthly, it's cheaper. All right. All right, it is installed. We need to have API endpoint for that component, daily sales. And we'll have that date, sales, and ID probably. All right, save. Go to web pages, new web page, dashboard. Again, it would be available only for admin. I don't want other users see my data on the dashboard. Don't forget to specify that security rule on the API level, because the security is really important. Role like admin, to be sure that nobody could have an access to our data. Dashboard, here we add chart, API endpoint daily sales, page size 40, chart, bar chart, turn on paging, grade, 3, legend tooltip, x-axis would be date, and the line, the single line, would be sales in dollars. All right, Let's have a look. Dashboard. All right, perfect. We could have a lot of more settings that that is brush or defining the data format. Here we have weird date format, that would be dd, month and date. Let's check another time. Oh, perfect. June 26th, June 22nd. That is, in a couple of clicks, we created a simple dashboard with that brush. So that is it. All right, let's have a look at the questions. Am I correct saying as you are building the app, you are also testing the visual on the user front end? Yes, absolutely. So I'm building an app and I'm testing everything that I'm building. So if we are building the UI part, so you saw the dashboard, that catalog of the dishes, that is the UI. I'm testing it. That could be UI available only for the user with a certain role, such as admin. There could be the whole list of roles. The roles could be complex. Each user has multiple roles. How you create the JSON in the bot. So actually manually, that is the field for creating a JSON. I look at the Telegram documentation. There is a JSON that inline buttons would be an array, and there in the array I could use the same templating techniques that I used for enlisting the menu. I could enlist the parts, the elements of the array in the JSON. All right, cool. I suppose that we would spend an hour, but I took almost an hour and a half. So thank you for the attention. That would be a pleasure for me to demonstrate the platform. If any question is appeared, please feel free to reach us out on support chat, in the community, on Discord. We'll be happy to answer, to help, to assist. Thank you. Take care. The recording will be available on the website, and we'll send it to your emails and on Discord as well. So